Oh, yeah, good.
Amrit Kal Mohan,
अच्छा.
technology.
Who is heading now? TriFac?
Austin, Texas.
No, I also don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You were really, I see Siddhartha was in TriFac.
What happened? No, after that, we used to, TIFAC.
TriFac, is it still live?
It exists.
Dead?
No, I was going to Taipan when Rajan was
Rajan
there.
was there after that.
After that, I not touched.
Now they're going to start, they want to now prepare Vision 2047. Technology Vision 2047.
But in that book, Abdul Kalam's book,
Yeah.
2020 and beyond,
Yeah.
she has quoted me extensively on industry.
Yes, sir.
There are 3-4 paragraphs of my quoted. Yeah, Abdul Kalam. On beyond 2020 and beyond, the latest book he wrote.
Rajan had taken TriFac to a different level. Rajan didn't want to come here.
His son and family are visiting him for 10 days from America.
That week?
For the 10 days. So they visited him and meet him only. And if he is away in Delhi, he will go.
Same with me. My son has come from Singapore only yesterday. The family is coming tonight, so I'm going straight.
Yeah.
But this is the time when the children.
For you to go only, can say to go for him, 24 days.
Yeah, for him it's a
Bangalore to Delhi itself is problem.
Haji.
I don't know, because there's only, was Hashim and Alex Sharma there. Sharma Yage.
Come here.
Sharma ji are there.
You can see wherever you like. Remove that tag.
Name plate लगा देंगे.
We are not careful for that.
We can't. Can we wait?
Sharma, he is not coming.
Yes. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I told you.
We stood in silence for 1 minute for Yugandhar. One minute we stood in silence before the session started. He had something. He was a founder member, and then the founding member. And then he is the one who joined his suggested IHD. I mentioned all that. I mentioned that she suggested IHD. Alex Sharma, she joined his suggestion. No, we stood for we made respect before the second started.
Anyway, let people know the point in David's presentation.
Before the
Cut down
he
papers in this session. Yeah, what we lost in minutes. Two papers in this session.
So we can cut down on the tea time.
Okay, all right. We have this paper is by Sanjay Kumar Malik, Technology Transfer from API to Local Firms, Retail Manufacturing Industries. And second paper is by Tuhin Shubhodro Giri.
Twin Shubro.
Yes, Tuhin Shubhodro. The paper is on ICT and performance in India's informal sector enterprises. So we begin with Sanjay. And well, strictly follow the 20 minutes. Don't exceed it because we are here. Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to make thanks to Knowledge. This is the first time I am kind of attending this conference. So I am really grateful to them. They consider to offer my paper. This is my paper. That is technology transfer from FDI to local firms in Indian manufacturing industry. So I don't have any.
Oh, please, Didier.
Oh, sorry. Oh, point. Slide
Switcher
changer.
and switcher changer.
Slide changer.
Right changer.
Yeah. This is the outline of my presentation, introduction, then followed by the theoretical paper. I'll discuss the theory with respect to the technology transfer from FDI to local firms. Then I'll talk about the empirical framework. Then I will present the estimates of result. And finally, I will show some robustness check for result. Then finally conclusion. Yeah, next.
You can keep it with your hand, right?
Yeah. There is a kind of competition that developing countries are kind of competing with each other, so that they can draw as much as FDI info into their region. That's why what they're doing there, they're kind of continuously simplifying their internal administrative structure, offering several fiscal and financial incentives to the multinational enterprises so that they can promote FDI. There is a formal justification of this, allowing investment incentive offered by the developing countries to many basically technology transfer from FDI. Basically, multinational enterprise they own, produce, control most of world's technologies, and they account for sizable chunk of global R&D activities. And which technology going to their very non-trivial nature, they kind of indirectly get transferred to the local firms. So, so that they that kind of benefit the local firms. So that is indirect technology transfer to the local firms. In addition to the indirect technology transfer, that is spillover, you can say, and that is a direct technology transfer. That can take place through the vertical linkages of MNE with the local firms. They may be users or producers. It's not working. Okay, it is working. It's working. Yeah.
Now you should don't do it in your institute. You got a different institute. So you are used to this paper.
Yeah, I got it, sir. Yeah. If you see the empirical study, in fact, basically with respect to the indirect technology transfer of FDI, the earlier study basically those who are longitudinal, form level longitudinal studies in developing countries, they are basically mostly kind of they denial about the existence of indirect technology transfer of FDI. Nonetheless, the study undertaken by Katsuya and Siddharth Lal, Blacklock, Gettler, and they kind of argue that you can have indirect technology transfer, but if you control some observability capacity of local firms, then we can kind of experience technology transfer from foreign firms. Recently, similarly, that Marina and Sachidharan, you can experience technological transfer to FDI, local firm, to kind of leave the let's say that activity that is in the technological game, then we can kind of they also use argue about kind of. Specifically, another way, recent study by the Kangaroo Sarwan, they also kind of, but they use the religion on the from indirect to but with respect to the direct technology transfer, basically the study are kind of that is through vertical linkage or the horizontal linkage. But the study they argue that the direct technology transfer that is through vertical linkage that is kind of more plausible. They are arguing that that through that through their vertical linkages to the supply technology to their kind of supplier. So that is a possibility that we can have direct technology transfer. But that these are the people that they have argued that Jaworski, Blacklock, Gatler, and Lee opted. They argue that there is indirect, there is existence of direct technology transfer API that is through backward linkage. But with respect to direct technology transfer, there is study so far has kind of found there is a mixed result. So, but with this, this study, whatever we have discussed over, basically they are kind of based in the early phase of the, they are mostly based on short time series, short panel data, short time series data they based on, which is kind of inadequate to kind of assess the potential technology transfer by FDA to local in developing country like India. In addition, the form level analysis that is set up in the early phase of the economic liberalization were too early to disentangle the effective transfer of technology from FDA to local from the host country. That's why the present study, what we are trying to kind of, we have taken a longer period of 18 years, that is spanning from 2001 to 2017-18 to examine technology transfer from FDA to local from the Indian manufacturing industry. Now, a question is why we should work on Indian manufacturing industry. If you see that since the outset of 1990s economic reform, in India we have kind of undertaken several reforms, that both internal and external reforms, so that we can make the environment investor friendly, so that we can have more FDI. And also now most of sector, agriculture, plantation, mining, manufacturing, everything kind of FDI is now permitted up to 100% through automatically. These reform kind of led to a substantial inflow of FDI, that is from $97 million in 1991 to around $55 billion in 2021. But if you see of this FDI inflow, manufacturing kind of accounts for around 45%. It has significant chunk is coming to manufacturing industry. That's why I have kind of looked at my study in manufacturing industry. That's why we see the study is basically trying to understand the both direct and indirect technology transfer from FDI to local from Indian manufacturing industry. Let's talk about the theory. What the theory kind of talk about this technology transfer from FDI to local source. Basically, developing country in general, basically we are kind of following of technology that is developed in Western developed country. So, but what we do that we try to emulate the technology, Western technology work, and so that adapt it to our condition. But we can emulate this technology if we have the access to this technology. So in this context, in fact, that FDI plays a very vital role in fact. Because FDI facilitates technology transfer. If that technology will be very useful, so that you can emulate the product or technology of the development. So that's why FDI is very crucial. So for our technology transfer, there are other channels also, imports are there, like technology licensing also there, technology collaboration also there. But this is very important because it comes to India, so that if they started producing here, so that there is high chance that it will produce more kind of technology transfer to local. And this technology transfer takes place both direct technological transfer, directly or indirect. If you talk about indirect technology transfer, basically there are two channels. They are kind of assumed to promote technology transfer. That is basically demonstration effect and implement on. Demonstration effect basically when this foreign firm they come in the host countries trying to display their product. Then and the entrepreneur who wants to try to emulate this, try to go for the R&D investment kind of innovation, the risk with respect to the new product will go away, because when they see the product and see the success, they try to emulate them to reverse engineering. So they kind of adapt it to the Indian condition. So that is how we're going to expect the technology transfer to domestic nature. Another one, employment turnover, basically, the MNE, they are kind of, when they come to what country, they kind of train the local employee, local people, they make them train, and they give them education, give them training, so that they're better than the local employee. When these people, they leave the foreign company and join the domestic firms, they are likely, they come with the experience and some tacit knowledge. They are very much used to the local firms production, local farm inputs. So that's why this is how employment turnover can be a potential challenge of indirect technology transfer. In addition, but there is here I kind of argue there is now we have a kind of stringent IPR regime. Basically, that is after 2005. The year that in which India kind of signed the TRIPS agreement. After that, there is a product pattern is kind of become mandatory. So these kind of rule out the kind of the process of emulation of the domestic company basically. The Indian vehicle, we have the pharmaceutical industry, South Korea have electronics. These are the because of this, that time we have till from 1972 to 2005 we don't have the product pattern. We have only process pattern. That kind of given them a lot of incentive so that can copy without any restriction. Now we cannot copy, we cannot emulate. That is that makes the indirect technology transfer very much kind of problematic. Cannot expect. But there are also cases that many they try to offer more ways so that they can prevent all that. These considerations make cost less opportunity over indirect technology transfer. So there is another argument here. I am going to make that. But these industries are not homogeneous. They are heterogeneous. So for with respect to innovation, technological changes concern, some are highly innovation intensive, some are low or less innovative intensive. As argued by 1984 and Malal, they have also argued like that. So basically, in highly technology intensive industry like chemical, pharmaceutical, electronics, we can expect there is less likelihood that we can expect indirect technology transfer. But those are low tech industry, which textile, wood, paper, product, metal, and food, we can expect about indirect technology transfer. So in this, with this discussion, I can hypothesize that indirect technology transfer to local firms is likely to take place in low tech industry compared to the high. So for direct technology transfer, though foreign firms basically many they have the incentive to kind of protect the leakage of technology, but they have incentive to transfer the technology to local users and producers. So those user of their product and the supplier of their raw material or intermediary. So that is through backward and forward linkage you can extract the take direct technology transfer can take place. I'll go very quickly. Sir. Yeah, so basically foreign firms they tend to transfer and technology other tracing knowledge to the upstream supplier to have a better quality. So this is how they transfer technology. And through forward linkages, how when this foreign firm they kind of supply better quality intermediate input and technology, local upstream users they kind of that can improve their innovation. That can improve both the process technology and product technology. Because when they use the advanced quality product or technology, that can kind of facilitate more technological changes in the local firms. That's why we hypothesize that the direct technology transfer to local firm may be more plausible compared to the indirect technology transfer. I have used mostly POISE IQ database. It is a final data basically I have taken. They only since it is we try to understand the technology transfer from FDA to local firm. I have only considered 945 local firms. Local firm they are from the period of 2001 to 2017-18. So we have something around 17,010 observations. Now, in addition to data, we have other database that is unknown industry for calculating labor variable. And I have also used one input output database that is for input output table for basically to compute the price, basically the input price index and also for the calculation of vertical linkages. So I also price index I use when you office of the economic advisor for price indices. This is the kind of model. So here what I have done, I have kind of regressed to understand the technology transfer from local FDA to local. What I do, I regress total productivity on the variable that measures foreign presence along with some industry and farm specific variable. You can see that the total productivity that basically I measure using the Levinson Curtin methodology that kind of take care of this the endogeneity problem in the estimation of total productivity. NextJet, that basically that is the share of foreign firm in an industry that measures the indirect technology transfer. BW is basically direct technology transfer, that is through backward linkages. FW basically that is the entire technology transfer through forward linkages. HHI basically Hoppener index, that is everybody know that I don't have to spend much time on this. And size, if anyone have anything, they can go to the paper for detail, construction of this variable and kind of see. I'm not going to discuss it. Yeah, and now the question about this, the estimation of this model. This model, there is a, you can see that there is a lambda mu1, v basically they are kind of that form specific in specific time specific. They are basically they're basically heterogeneous. That unobserved heterogeneity. Basically, they are kind of observed by the form, but it is not observed by the implementation like us. So we cannot observe that. These are basically very problematic thing. We have to take care of this. Basically, time variant of unobservable, basically VT, that can be kind of captured through inclusion of time dummy. But there are time invariant variable, basically lambda and mu. So for that, basically, they kind of make the data non-stationary, basically. Basically, in a short panel, it is not an issue, but in a long panel like 18 years, so we will have a non-stationary issue. So that's why the estimation of simply you regress with the fixed statement, so you cannot have simply if you don't fixed around this equation, we'll have a kind of inconsistent or biased estimate. So what do I do that? I have kind of time difference this model, this equation, so that to get rid of the indigeneity. Sorry, not stationary problem. So that I have already discussed. And also there is another problem that to take care of this, there is this kind of fixed effect or estimator. We have the problem of that heteroscedasticity problem is there. So I have used the cluster sampling method that take care of both autocorrelation and serial correlation in the model. And then another aim of the study is to see that various in technological difference across industry, how it is affecting technology transfer to local firm. What I've done, I split the entire sample to low tech firms and high tech firms. Low tech firms are from those who are belonging to low tech industry, high tech firms are from those who are belonging to high tech industry. Yeah. So this is how I have followed OECD 11, 2011 classification to classify the manufacturing. So if you see this is summary statistics, if you see I am talking about the only key variable that is edge that measure the entire technology transfer. You see that foreign firm has something around 26% share in the industry. But if you see the BW and FW, that basically vertical linkages of foreign firms, you see that they have very meager quick presence. The primary you can say that there is a direct technology transfer is kind of less plausible from this level. Okay, sir. I am not going to detail. So if you see this is a full sample. So if you see that first row of if you see the first column, second column of the table, you can see that alone edge basically measures the indirect technology transfer. So you can see that is a 1% growth, 1% growth in share of foreign firms, output of foreign firms that lead to 0.05%. Growth in total productivity. So that means that there is some. But if you see all the regression, they are kind of statistical significant. So that's why these changes are kind of that persistently we see all the regression there is a kind of significant and persistent. This is because kind of that means the presence of foreign firms kind of benefiting indirect technology transfer to local firms. But if you see the vertical backward linkage, forward linkage, we are not finding any consistent. It's across if you see that backward linkages, they are not significant across all this regression. By different secondary they are not. Similarly, with the forward linkages, but they are not significant across all the regression. With the higher order differences, they are not significant. So we can see that we are only experiencing indirect technology transfer to local firms, but not in the direct technology transfer. But this is sometimes not working. Yeah. Similarly, also low-tech forms. Also, when I split the sample, I have also found a similar result. This technology transfer, indirect technology transfer, that is happening to local firm, that is basically mainly contributed by the low-tech local firms. I have not found anything from the high-tech local firms. High-tech firms are not experiencing any indirect technology transfer or neither direct technology transfer. This is the key findings, what I have got. There are indirect technology transfer to FDI from transfer to local from FDI in Indian manufacturing. But however, this indirect technology transfer are mainly going towards the local firms in low-tech industry, not towards the low-tech local high-tech industry, the absence of indirect technology transfer from FDI to high-tech local firms basically indicate that high-tech foreign firms could successfully protect their technological leakage to the local firm in India. They could do this through the non-IPR regime. Then I have discussed that the IPR regime came into being 2005. That kind of explains why we have no indirect technology transfer to high-tech local firms. But they are, and also secondly, also the foreign firm, those who are high-tech foreign firm, they use highly sophisticated technology. So it is difficult to also emulate for the domestic firm. They can emulate this thing, and there is no direct technology transfer from foreign firm to from foreign firm to local users and supplier to foreign firms. Even after controlling the technology differences also, I have not received any direct technology transfer to local firm from FTA. We have the following explanation as I have mentioned in the beginning, that is that they have the many or foreign firms are weak linkage. Weak linkage and poor linkage with the local upstream firm and downstream firms. This kind of explain why we are not experiencing any direct technology transfer from FTA to local. I have some check. I have done some robustness check also. They also kind of confirm. They also confirm the same. I have done for the GLS applied, and also higher order difference I have applied. So you can see that they also confirm the similar finding. I have also the robustness check will confirm the finding are kind of going hand in hand. This is the concluding thing, and I have already discussed that a strong IPR regime and technological differences explain the indirect technology transfer that is going to the low-tech local firms. And there is no direct technology transfer from FDI to local in upstream and downstream manufacturing industry. And that is mainly because of weak vertical linkages of FDI with the local firm. That explains the absence of direct technology transfer from FDI to local. And what I would suggest, now there is a kind of simply amending and modifying the policy to attract more FDI is kind of worthless an effort to facilitate technology transfer from foreign firm to local firm, if they are not complemented by policy to strengthen and increase the degree of FDI linkages with local users and suppliers in Indian manufacturing. The policy need to be devised in such a manner so that it will compel MNE to build stronger linkages with local users and suppliers, and thereby bringing about higher technology transfer to local firms in most efficient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, finished in 20 minutes time, as I had advised him. Let's start with some comments on this paper, and then I'll throw it open for comments. So when I look at the paper, I ask myself, what is new? What did I learn from this paper that I did not know? One thing that seems to be coming out, which seems to be the main sort of message from here, is that from high-tech firms, there is no transfer. But in low-tech firms, there is transfer to local transfer. That seems to be the main. Initially, he mentioned that this is my hypothesis, but did not say why. Perhaps it's there in the paper. But I have some doubts. I mean, is it that in high-tech firm, it is possible to protect the technology or the knowledge? In low-tech firm, it is not possible to protect the technology. And you have to give some good reasons why. But I think best is, why don't you test it? Because if you think that 2005 was the cutoff, then run the same regression for period before 2005 and show that before 2005, when IPR was not there, even in high-tech firms, technology was coming to local firms, but after 2005, because of the stringency of the IPR, it is not possible. So this is first comment. Second comment is, this entire study has used a balanced manner. In Pravesh's data, creating a balanced panel means you have to leave out many firms. And I don't see what is the great advantage of using a balanced panel of 1,000, about 1,000 firms, when one could always go to work with 5,000 firms if you do not insist that the data should be there for all 18 years. Because there are new firms which have been set up. By insisting on 18-year balance panel, all firms that were fresh, new, are excluded. It is also not clear to me, although the data are for balance panel, the computation of, say, BW or FW, are they also confined to this, or is it that the entire industry data are being used? Because here, those are based on the shares. So this has not been very clear to me. But if it is coming from balance panel, I think that's not right. It should use the entire industry data because. But anyway, you can answer that. What is the how it is being done? Again, what is being done in the model is, although model is say y is a function of x, regression is delta y upon function of delta x, then delta 2 function of delta 2x and delta 3 function of delta 3x, and it keep on differencing the variable and running it. Why? Up to maybe 2, 3 is fine. 9-period difference between the dependent variable and 9-period difference in the explanatory variable. I mean, there has to be a logic up to how much differencing should be done. Just because computer is there, you know, keep on differencing. There has to be some reason. But my personal feeling is up to 4 difference is fine. Going beyond 4 difference, what is extra? Maybe you can explain why you have gone up to 10 difference, 10th place difference. That is between, I understand is between increase between 2000 and 2010. In why is being regressed on increase between 2000 and 2010 in explanatory variables. So it's okay, but you can. Now, at places you are mentioning that you are doing clustering. Clustering in all, I think this general point that those who are using fixed effects should cluster the standard errors. But when you write in your tables robust standard errors, I think you should write robust standard errors clustered at firm level, because that is, I think, what you are doing.
Yes.
So why not claim that? Because that's a reviewer. I mean, you should always only talk about reviewer will be very happy that they have clustering here. And then there are 1 or 2 points, then I'll stop and then ask them to close. One point is more data centric. WIOD is not some independent input output tables being made. They are using the Indian data to make. WIOD is creating input output tables, what get time series of input output tables. Every year they have an input output table. But WIOD, by virtue of that, has many only a small number of registers. On the other hand, if you look at the CSO input output table, it's 130 by 130. By using CSO input output table, you are getting a more precise estimate of BW, FW, rather than using the WIOD. You can consider this.
Yes.
Because what is the gain? And I think earlier studies, I think Smriti Ranjan Behera and others, I think they are using the CSO IOD, not the WIOD. Final point. Why did you go to GLS? Now, one logic for going to GLS, I mean, my understanding is that there is what is called cross-sectional dependence, or there is some sort of heterogeneity, or some such heteroscedasticity. So, if those tests are done and you show that there is cross-sectional dependence, you will build a case. But in the paper I read, I said, no, I have done this, now I'm going to GLS. So you please build a case. So this is the reason that fixed effect is not okay, and I have to go to GLS to continue. So with that, I'll stop. Sorry, these are suggestions for you, and not criticism actually of the work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now let me invite comments.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Golda. But Malik, it's an interesting paper. I only want to suggest one reference for you. This is based on a PhD thesis that I evaluated long ago. The paper is with Kumar and Balasubramanian, IISc Bangalore. So they did a, case study approach and they did a survey of the SMEs. So they talk about technology relationship between MNCs and the local firms. So the local firms are mostly in the SME category. And then they said the mode of technology transfer varies across sectors in which the MNCs are present, and also the origin of country of interest.
I have read that.
So you read that paper. So I was looking for the cited that paper as a very interesting study and it's very published in the place. So show familiarity with the literature. Yes.
More comments?
There's just one point to strengthen what you said, that they should be asked to transfer technology if they want access. Now, China did exactly that. They used to force these firms, if you want access to our market, you better give us the technology. There were instances where the firm officials in Beijing would say, look, we're not allowed to tell you this. Then they would say, okay, go and remain in your hotel, check with the headquarters. When they allow you, then we'll come back. So literally they forced them to agree to transfer technology. So you can utilize market access to say you better give us the technology.
More? Okay. Somebody.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for the comment. Yeah, they will be very useful to me. Yeah, first of all, I will also experiment this breakup of the time series so that you can see that after 2005 what is happening. But then I will have a small sample, so that is why I kind of didn't go for it. We have only 4 years. So 4 years we cannot kind of only witness.
You promised I think 1980 onwards.
Yeah, so that is I correctly, I think you maybe knowing sir, you might have not seen that, but FDI data basically will be available from 2001 onwards. So that is the kind of limitation I can go for that. And I have used the balance panel data basically since the longer time period. So basically to kind of estimate the capital stock, you need to have a, then in that case I am, it's difficult to kind of implement the perpetual inventory method. So that's why I am kind of adapted this. And then because a project data, there is a lot of missing observations. So even though if I added that, maybe something around some, some 100 form, I would have included to the panel. So there hardly I think 100 form I have kind of deleted after making the form balance panel. So that's why I use unbalanced parameter tool so that you can easily, very nicely apply the perpetual inventory method to estimate the capital stock. That's why I have used balance panel. So one can also go for a unbalanced panel. With the earlier paper, I have also used unbalanced panel. So time differencing basically that takes care of this is the errors basically that is the unobserved heterogeneity basically to take care of that. Noise will be kind of cancelling out. Of course, you can question that one should not go for the long differencing. But I have already seen the paper by AER. They have also go up to 6, 7. They have gone that. The paper by Jaworczyk, they have done that. Differencing, time differencing. The argument is same that if you higher differencing basically kind of cancel out noise, so you will have a more persistent effect of FDI on the productivity. So that is the kind of basically intuition why I have gone for the higher differencing, but one can also use that. For interpretation is difficult. When in that case, only first thing, the first differencing can be interpreted, but all the other you cannot interpret. But you can have an idea that it is persistent. If it is persistent, we can say that is a yes, sorry. So if it is persistent, then it shows that there is some kind of technology transfer. But each 1 year is happening, and the second model it is not happening, it is not persistent. That is the argument is that. That's why I need time differencing. But one can also reduce to 6, at best 6 or 7. So that is, and yeah, cluster standard error I can input that in the paper report that. And I have used that wall input output table data because and also because I think Professor Ruchi Sharma also in her paper, I think 2-3 paper he have also used the same database. I'm not the first person to use data. I can that is the excuse they can make, but this advertisement data that you have a continuous data. But even CSO data, I have also used the CSO data, but you have a different point. So you will have to kind of do the interpolation so that you have all the year. That is also kind of defecting method. We can also question on that. So that's why I have used one input output table data. And finally, the GLS basically I used to check the robustness check. So whatever finding I have got there to kind of substantiate to make it robust, I have used the GLS. Otherwise, it is, of course, there is a that I don't go to get in that why the theory should be that process dependence thing. That is, then again, that is a very, a questionable thing also. So that's why I have used the for which only purpose is the robustness check. It is a random method basically that use GLS to estimate the model. So that's all. Then I go through the papers and I'll see that I have read it, but for this paper I have not read. Earlier paper it is all used. Thank you so much, sir.
We are short of time, but if you have just one sentence, you can, one or two sentences you can say.
No, I just wondered if there's a survival bias in your findings, because you started off by saying it's very unlikely that we'll see indirect effects, and that's what you find. But that's what you will find if you pick out the firms that last that entire period. So it's worth it for you to compare these results with a balanced panel with an unbalanced panel model.
Okay.
And maybe that'll tell you something different.
Good one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's move to the next paper.
Yes, actually, good afternoon to all. It's the first time I'm presenting in this forum. And
The mic is on.
Yeah, it's all.
yes, and it's long back we have submitted it due to COVID. We couldn't meet all, and after almost 2.5 years, I guess we are meeting. So, but me and my fellow friend Sekhar want to in this working paper that we want to have a look at it is the ICT effect how come it affects the firm performance in India's informal sector enterprises. So like as we all know, but still for the like why we are really think about the informal sector. I mean, every time whenever we are talking about the industry level performance and all, almost everywhere it is mentioned that we are having a huge informal sector which is kind of performing inside, maybe we are not knowing or something like this. So that's why the informal sector is a major contributor to the Indian economy as as it has the ability to generate income and create employment for a significant proportion of the population, and it also provides the affordable goods and services to people who are suited for local needs. And is also associated with India's technological capacity and variety of the products that are suitable to the local market, and it also communicates the informal economy in which the bulk of the workforce currently earns their livelihood, and since the formal sector has only managed to absorb a small portion of the economically active population. So these are some of the studies which it's review of literature, so I can skip it, I guess, due to paucity of time and all. So some of the instances which we are getting, and it's very I guess very surprising that we are having the last available data set, which was 2015-16, that is 73rd round of NSS data. Other than that, we are not having any data in terms of informal enterprises also. And I guess from the report of Ministry of MSME also, every year they are coming up with their annual report with the same numbers, which was they are quoting the number from 2015-16 only. So we got it that from that data only we have also used it, because we are not having any other sources available right now. So that is 3.3 million of farms are using ICT measures, and either we have looked at into the either they are using computer or internet during that period. And it is evident that the very few farms are using ICT as their business operations, like only 5.4% of the farms are using any kind of ICT measures among all. So the figure is not looking bad. Maybe if we are comparing with the previous NSS round, which is 67, which has been done in 2010-11, that was 3.2% farms and using the ICT. The share of the farm using ICT increased during the last 5 years in terms of the last second last NSS survey, but it can be denied that the total figure is strictly is critically low. And the analysis we have done it to evaluate the association between the ICT and the farm performance. We have applied the 2SLS model and used profit estimation to determine the ICT uses at informal sector enterprises, and then we applied second stage model using the predicted value of the ICT determinants. And this is the equation we have. This is the model equation which we have followed in the for our analysis. And the second equation we kind of to evaluate the impact of this is the second impact of ICT uses on farm performance when other key farm level determinants of farm performance are introduced and constant. And we did it in terms of we did log of total factor productivity, which is and labor productivity, and in terms of the GVA. So the factor affecting ICT users during the model, we have during the analysis, we have seen that the dependent variable reflects the ICT using of farm. All coefficients are statistically significant at 1% level. I guess. So,
People can look at the table.
sorry for the clumsiness in the PPT. So 1% level of significance and farms unregistration, like not registered, getting not registered status provides a negative and significant effect on ICT uses of the farm. This indicates that being a registered farm and local government agency is positively associated with the ICT using unorganized enterprises. So the result supports the theoretical explanation that establishes a positive link between institution and farm level ICT adoption. So signs of the investment in plant and machinery share a positively significant effect on ICT uses. Also, our result shows that the type of enterprises shows a positively significant effect, means the directory farms, a little bit larger, bigger farms are more engaged in the ICT activities. Positive signs, controlled variables such as type of ownership, such as female proprietor, partnership of farms and trusts. So the entrepreneur characteristics have a significant association with the ICT users. So another thing is that the investment in plant and machinery is needed for the ICT activities in informal enterprises. So the result supports the literature that found positive link between the wages and ICT adoption. So in the later stage, the second stage of our analysis is having the impact of ICT farm on the performance. And the coefficient estimation is positive in all the three models for total factor productivity and labor productivity and GP of the farm. So the result supports the empirical evidence that found positive effect on ICT adoption on farm productivity, and significant and large effect on farm productivity, and the other. And this table, sorry, I guess if you are having the paper.
People have the paper, so they.
Yeah, if you are having the paper. So the next table presents the second stage estimation results showing the impact of ICT on total factor productivity and labor productivity and gross value added. So we estimated different model specifications where we sequentially added different sets of control variables to extend the basic specifications for robustness check. And in all the estimations, we considered the predicted value of ICT from the first stage model as an independent variable of interest, and result indicate a significant positive effect of ICT on factor and the total factor productivity. From the analysis and the literatures and other data from the last two rounds, we have come to some of the conclusions. The study was to investigate factors that influence unorganized sector enterprises to use ICT at their business operations. We also explored the relationship between ICT users and the farm performance, the increasing rate of ICT infrastructure development and its subsequent effect on socio-economic activities is different to each other, right? And the integration of global economic activities resulting from advanced ICT and a decrease in trade barriers provide vast opportunities for micro and small enterprises. And accepting ICT enables businesses to complete globally coupled with enhanced efficiency and closer customer and supplier relationships. So ICT is one of the leading forces in the economic growth equation. So this is the reason for unorganized enterprises to accept in order to promote their business strategy, performance, and growth. So it also revealed that the investment in plant and machinery influences the ICT uses, as I have already mentioned, and the establishment are highly engaged with ICT activities compared to the other counterparts of the household enterprises. And also examining that revealed a strong positive relationship between ICT users and firm performance. So the registration status of unorganized enterprises to encourage ICT users. And we should also offer intensive education about the benefits of ICT. The training programs and awareness camps on ICT should be conducted for unorganized enterprises. The government should provide enabling environments that support the implementation of ICT in unorganized sector. And another thing is that, as I have already mentioned, that there's a dire need of database with the recent data of the enterprises. Also, the data we are getting from the NSS third round in terms of the ICT users indicators, that should be revised in terms of new technologies coming up in the market, as we are using everyone using in terms of mobile with the internet connection and all. And there are some facts, some developments in terms of digitalization recently happened, and which we should need to way forward to getting. We should think about it, that the scenario of MSMEs need to be exposed with tremendous spread of digitalization over the last decade and more in India. So India has over 1 billion wireless telecom subscribers and more than 750 million smartphone users, and shows among the highest data per user in the world. And India's first payments UPI is a marvel, marvel, and complemented by the returning e-commerce sector is with over 140 million online shoppers and a GVM of $40 billion, growing at a 25% CAGR. Though government have launched a plethora of initiative over the last few years, but the Udyam registration portal, which we all know that it only need a phone to register under that, but it's showing some declining in the last 2 years, declining in the registration process. Government also created some or champion. There's a website called Champion, a unified single window portal listing all the schemes relevant for MSME in India and providing a space for guidance and the grievance redressal and suggestion and sharing ideas. But after launching the GEM, which is a platform for the MSMEs of our domestic MSMEs, is only around 5 million sellers and service providers on its platform, close to 6 years after the launch. And if we go for the Samadhan portal, which is for the grievance redressal, which is 0.1 million applications have been filed in that when the delayed payment started. Sorry.
You're not going beyond the people.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So this is the situation which is we are having in terms of the digitalization of the sector. So that is what I was just trying to show. And thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll start with a few comments on this. I think you should realize the importance of this type of work, because information technology has been a major driver for countries. By comparison, I think the level of spread of information technology in India is still very limited, and the fact that it can contribute to activities that are important, also quite important. I have first one issue that I want to raise. First of all, is incidentally, you mentioned that you were using the 2015 data, what do you call it, 97th round?
73rd round.
73rd round. Professor Krishna was the chairman of the 73rd round. Yes, sir. Under his guidance, this that data were collected, and of course, maybe soon other data. First, I start with the point that the references at the end of a paper should be alphabetical or by year. Anyway, it's fine. Because if it's not alphabetical, it becomes very difficult for a person to find the reference. So why I ask this is, there have been several studies on the effect of ICT on productivity internationally. But Indians are also done several studies. I think they Singh and Sharma, 2012. And there are several others, including there are studies already for the unorganized sector. How is it data? But KLAR isn't done productivity. Has it? KLAR has also done productivity. Yeah.
No, earlier also on.
Exports. KLAR has done exports. Productivity, I don't remember. But anyway, there are papers on how ICT contributes to productivity for the organized sector. There are studies. I could find one study for the unorganized sector, but none of them find any place in your list of. Now, at least I could not find them because they are not in alphabetical. So I can't find them if they are there, but probably none of them find place in your list of references. Anyway, so this you are right. The next question I have is, see, ICT is very rewarding, can increase productivity. Do these firms not know that? Is it they are ignorant that they can gain from ICT? I mean, if somebody, IGCT can be so beneficial, why they are not using ICT? Is it they have not been told? Nobody told them that you can have a mobile phone and on that you can have it. So this question is a theoretical question that I think needs some answer as to what is preventing. Because an ICT for a small firm doesn't cost much. What is preventing them? For a vast area, only 3% of the firms or 4% of the firms. What is preventing so many firms to use it if it is so beneficial as your result shows? This is a question to be thought about. Third is, you are showing impact on three things: labor productivity, total factor productivity, and GPA. I personally think effect on GPA is not, this equation is not well specified, because labor productivity I can understand, total factor productivity, GPA you need some controls, other controls. Without that, my suggestion is that equation should be dropped. Because ICT explaining GPA is difficult equation. Now, total factor productivity, this is a general comment which is applicable to others who work on the unorganized sector. Unorganized sector firms, many of them don't have their own equipment or own building. They are on rented premises, and they may have also some of the equipment on rent. So in your balance sheet, your capital will show a very low figure. Actually, your capital is quite big. And if you are paying a rent of 10,000, you should take 10 times that as a capitalized value. If you had to buy that, so you for this sort of surveys, you do a proper production function distribution. The own and rented, both have to be taken into account. Own is a full value, and rented you have to use a multiple. That if this is the rent, what is the capital value of that? And this is the reason in your production function, the coefficient of capital is low, because capital is not being properly measured in this sort. Large scale industry, this is not so much a problem. They will not. They also have rented. Many organized sector factories are in rented accommodation. They don't own the building, but it's not so big a problem as in the unorganized sector. Then, actually, you see, interestingly,
ASI data have been used extensively for research. And I think there are colleagues here at ISID who have also used ASI. ASI collects data on ICT, but does not make it available for ICT. Unorganized sector survey is the only survey which collects data on ICT and also makes it available to the researchers to use. But why collapse all this spectrum into one variable? Are you using, are you not? You have also by, I think, different types. You have 4 or 5 types of information as to are you using internet, are you using this, are you using computer. So in your regression, instead of one variable, ICT, you should have ICT1, ICT2, ICT, so that you can see the effect of each component. Having a computer is more important, having internet is more important, doing business on internet is important. What is important? So my suggestion would be, if possible, you should split the ICT. Correct. So, question here.
I think in your paper, why don't you give a structure of these SFPs? Informal sector, because it's informal, but there is a structure, no?
Yeah.
There is an agent which supplies the equipment, right? Then there is a central person who collects all the labor. So it's a network of people. And I think many of us don't understand this because these networks are different, like repair maintenance, there's a physical location. People who come to your home and do services, a different location. Mobile repair can be a location, cannot be a location. So try to give some structure because most of the readers, especially from abroad, do not understand the structure of what you call informal. Because informal is not that there is no structure, there is a structure. So once you do that, it becomes easier for us to understand what are you measuring? Like the capital, I mean, whose capital are you measuring? So I think some description.
Dr. Lal?
Good, Madhuraji, but you're not thought of using logic model for the first stage? Logic model, that is probably better than the linear model which you have used. Because the linear model has a problem of viscosity, therefore the results will not be as good as from a logic model. That is, everybody uses logic model in a situation like this, another probate model. The second point is you have so many observations. I think you should really have, for example, for the different categories, you have different regressions. Rather than pull them all together and have only dummy variables. I think that will give you more information.
Good idea. Sure. Yeah.
I think the data set doesn't allow the kind of information which you suggested, like, internet, and network within the organization may not be good for internet, email and all those things. I think that data are not available. So you are constrained by quantity form, whether you use ICT or you don't use ICT.
No, why? Question, not I think there are 6 questions.
There are questions. Sir. There are 6 questions as you mentioned. That's right, sir. But not all the farms are like when you go for the analysis. There will be a drop of the observations. There are many farms will be dropped. Actually, that's why you just preliminary. You thought that we just start with the. Are you using any kind of measures in terms of ICT or not? Then maybe we'll go as sir also suggested.
Probably if the information is there, then you can generate the ordinal variable as suggested by Dr. Krishna, and you can use different techniques than what you have used. Second thing is in analysis, family partners and non-family partners both are significant. What is this analysis? I can't explain what is insignificant. Both the factor variables are significant.
Both are included.
Yeah, so I just, you have to look into the regression really, and the data, what is the problem? And then the wage coefficient is running into
10⁻⁶, I think you use some transformation, maybe log or something like that, so it is within the limit, you know.
Which variable?
Wages,
Wages.
C is coefficient and is under,
E raised to the power -6.
is
Oh, ranking.
6, -6.
E raised to the power -6.
-6 is so small value, so maybe I don't know how we are used. I'm more concerned is about the family partners and non-family partners, so I think as such, really it's very confusing.
Lal Saab, we are also trying to come towards physics. You are trying to E raised to the power -10.
Well said. Impact of economics.
Yeah, do we have this?
I just wondered if the usage of ICT differs.
Please use your mic.
Does the usage of ICT differ across the different sectors? I mean, agriculture.
No, this is not agriculture. This is unorganized manufacturing.
Only that, but it's not in.
Unorganized manufacturing, within that all service. Oh, he is using unorganized manufacturing and
That is
services.
why.
Non-agricultural sector.
So it's non-agriculture, it's also non-rural.
No.
It's good. It's all the, we have taken all the.
So that's why sorry, I used the word term agriculture, I meant rural. So is there a difference between rural and urban?
There is difference in terms of share of uses.
Did you put up those kind of figures? So it's actually quite informative to know that. It's just, as Professor Golda already said, it's a mystery why some sectors are not using it. And if you can report it either by activity or by rural urban, this can give us some insight.
Actually, nowadays, smartphone. It may be as good as maybe the 360, IBM 360 used to have. I don't know, Lal Saab can be more powerful. Can confirm. Whole building is 360 today, whole building is in my pocket. Mobile is good enough for ICT.
Yeah, rightly said, mobile phone is much more powerful than IBM 360/45, whose memory was just 128 GB.
Kilowatt.
128 GB.
But I guess internet use, the question includes mobile phones.
It does. Do we have more comments? Yeah.
Okay. No, actually.
I think we have to close soon. Please go ahead, but
Yeah, so big point is, I mean, I understand the challenges, but that's exactly taken through from the earlier points, since you're looking at it, I'm also not comfortable that you're using as a binary ICT, yes or no, and also we don't know what is the purpose for which they're using ICT. That's what I already written. So is it used in the manufacturing process in terms of design and product design and the sale, or is it only as a means of communication? So that could actually, because you have services as well as manufacturing. So if that distinction you can make, it will enrich you.
yeah, do you have more comments? I think we have to close, so we cannot have more comments. So, Mr. Giri, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the comments, for the betterment of our paper. We will do it. So as Chair Golda sir also that the issue about the references, sorry for that. Could not arrange that time, but yeah, we'll do it and we'll send. Sorry for that. And for the or as you also suggested about the place and the capital point, we'll again incorporate those variables in very carefully about whenever we are using a kind of analysis, and we'll then look into the total factor productivity and the labor productivity. And you are absolutely right, sir. We also tried at the starting when we thought about the ICT uses. We started with the ASI data, but when I approached them about the data, disseminating of data, they are like, yeah, we are collecting, but we can't give you. And split of the ICT variables, we have not thought about that thing, but we'll again run for that analysis and try to do on that kind of exercise. And sir, and Lal sir's comment about the family partners and non-family partners, sir, actually, that is like, there's during the ownership, they are having the options about the partnership and the proprietorship, and some of them are family partners also, using in terms of the informal sector and informal enterprises. So we put that in the ownership account during the analysis, so it gives us that result, but it could not have the background explanation for that yet, but we should try to find out about that for if there's some grassroots level analysis and all. And yes, ma'am, sector wise, sector we have not put it in the model because I mean, at the starting, we got off a composite paper about the having a total picture from the sector, how it's affecting and not. That's why we will not put it, but it will differ in terms of rural and urban areas, and it will also differ about further activities because we have taken into the manufacturing and services. And sir, for the Krishnan sir, point, we have not tried for the lodging model, but I'll do it and see about the result. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, Narayan sir, for the.
Okay, so my last job is to thank both the authors for the excellent presentations they made and also to the other participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the work. We'll break for tea, and we have very interesting panel in store. So please, let's have tea and come back and see the
Registration.
panelists are already here and ready. Tea is right next door. The best part. Go for lunch.